Jason.
Okay, Brian Tichy here on the phone.
I should make sure my voice sounds cool. All
And
right.
indeed, it's gonna sound. Yes.
Now I'm in character.
All right, Brian Tichy here. You're playing with Lynch Mob right now.
What's that? Lynch Bob?
Lynch Bob and Lynch Mob. You playing with them?
Bob Lynch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just did 3 shows last weekend with George Lynch Mob, opening it for Dokken. So that was kind of fun.
How long you been just these few gigs and that's it, or are you going to be promoting tours with them?
We'll see what happens. We earlier this year at the NAMM show, George and I jammed and hit it off and stuff, and we talked about getting together somewhere, this year if we could. And I did a lot of touring with Foreigner, so most of the year went by. But then I'm friends with his bass player Marco Mendoza, and we were talking, and I said, "Oh, tell George what's up." And I said, "I'm home for a bit." And George called me back, said, "Hey, let's jam." Okay, cool. Let's next couple weeks we'll get it together. And then he had shows come up, these shows, and he initially asked me and Jeff Pilson, the bass player in Foreigner, the original Dokken bass player, to do them, as part of Lynch Mob. And it was like, oh, that'll be a lot of fun. Me and Jeff playing with George and opening for Dokken. But Jeff couldn't do it. He just had too many things on his plate at that time. So I got my buddy Michael Devin to do it, and he played with in my band, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and all this stuff. And so we came in and we had a few rehearsals and a few shows, and went cool. And that was it, except for we have this one show in Vegas this Saturday at Vince Neil's Club. I think it's called Dr. Feelgood's, and we're just playing there. And the reaction was really good. So I had a lot of fun playing the stuff, and Oni's great, and I had never met him before, so that was a lot of fun to meet him, and he's a real good guy, great singer, totally cool, and George is killer. So we have this one show coming up, and then I guess the reaction was so good for from the promoters and stuff. They were trying to get some more dates, and I think they're still trying to, but it's the holidays, and you can't promote that much. There's not enough time to promote, but there was almost talk of a little Texas run, which there's just not enough time to get together. So hopefully there'll be some other stuff. I know George is going to South America, but I have a couple weeks with Foreigner in January. So we'll see what happens, after that, in February and the months down the road. He's looking to have Lynch Mob do a lot of touring. And if I'm available, I would like to play. I had a blast. It's cool because I'm just interpreting the music how how I play, more or less, I guess. I'm not trying to, you stick to the parts, but I'm just trying to, it's cool. George is real open about, just going for things, and just making it sound, how we sound as players melding together, So it was a lot of fun.
Would you prefer drumming or guitaring?
Guitaring.
You like that a lot?
Oh, yeah, totally. I don't do enough of it. Drums are killer. I'm just a drummer who loves to play guitar, but in my world at this point in time, and probably since somewhere in the mid to late 90s, I wish I was a full-time guitar player who happened to end up playing drums here and there with people, or maybe doing, recording drum tracks on my own stuff. But I wish I was playing guitar all the time. I'd be so much better if I had to play really for real, That's a good one, really for real. Not joking around. That's double. Really for real.
A lot of people notice that you're the drummer in Ozfest 2000 with all the power and energy.
Not at all.
Why don't the people recognize
nobody
you?
knows. No, I have to go and brag about it on my own and wear a T-shirt or something that says I used to play with Ozzy in 2000. Not really. Some people know. As far as like in the industry, like other drummers or musicians and stuff. But it was Ozfest, which is a huge tour and all that. And it's Ozzy; he's huge, and it was like a pinnacle of drumming for me. I grew up on Aldridge and Ozzy and Sabbath and Rhodes and Blizzard of Oz and Paranoid and Supernaut. Go down the list. I'm a huge fan. Daisley, and that was part of me growing up. It was awesome to do. To play with Ozzy, keep the hi-hat time and War Pigs while he's singing the verses. It's amazing to me, and it was really cool to be able to get the chance to do it. But I didn't promote myself. I didn't run around trying to make it a big deal. I had my band Ball going at the time, and we had a record mixed, and it was like I was really having fun. It was great. It was a great time to be able to have a record deal, have a record mixed, and go on tour with Ozzy. Come off that tour and put my record out, and both things how should I put it? Both things failed miserably. No, both things both things just didn't work out. I didn't continue with Ozzy, and and my record label went under. So that it was all going cool, and I was like, this is gonna be this is setting up the future, nice. And then they both kind of fizzled, and but that's all right. More things happen, and life continues. But no, it wasn't like it's like a lot of people forgot. Dean Castronova's on an Ozzy record, but he also did play live with Ozzy for a while. But it wasn't for that long, so you don't really think about it so much. I mean, I associate mainly, there's a few big drummers, Aldridge, Castillo, and now Mike Borden, but I don't even think about Mike Borden so much just because it was after I'd, been such a huge fan of the Aldridge, Castillo area, it was more like Mike Borden was Faith No More's drummer to me, Anyhow, yeah, it was, nobody really remembers. There's an Ozzy pay-per-view, you can go, what do you call it? Type in Ozzy 2000 or Ozfest 2000 and see these. What's that?
On YouTube, you see yourself pounding the drums.
Yeah, there's good footage, and it sounded
footage.
Good. It was, yeah. You've seen it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the MTV thing and the Brazil thing. I think it is with Joe Holmes on guitar, you on drums.
Yeah, I mean Holmes was killer, man. I thought. A lot of people go, oh, Joe, Zach is the man, and Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee. It's like, you got to look at where Holmes is coming from, man. He had to come in and rise up to imitating and duplicating and replicating and somewhere in there be unique. Come on, he had to go from Iommi to Rhoads to Jake to Zach. I mean, anybody that's got to play with Ozzy in the guitar position has got such a huge job to do. You got to make every fan happy, but you're also supposed to be original. Yeah. It's like, where do you put originality in that, man? I mean, I want to hear if it's a Zach song, you got to play the pings and the Zach's vibrato the right way. If you play the Jake licks, you got to play that the right way. Randy, come on, you got to do his squeals and dive bombs the right way. And Iommi's Iommi. So the cool thing is you have Randy Rhoads' version of Iommi, which I love Iommi, but it was so much fun as a kid to listen to Randy interpret Sabbath the way he interpreted it because it was so modern sounding, And Randy was breaking ground then and all that stuff. So, man, Joe was killer at doing all those guitar players justice and tipping the hat to everybody. And his tone was great. His feel was great. He was 100% spot on every night. I have nothing but respect for how great of a job he did. It's not. I challenge anybody. Get up there and play with Ozzy and see how good you do. It is not easy. You're gonna follow Zach's footsteps and Jakey Lee and Randy Rhoads at Iommi. Give me a break. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Joe killed it, and Trujillo killed it, and I was just happy to be there.
Brian, who was the keyboard player in that era that you played in?
John Sinclair, who is not with him now. I think it's Don Airey now. Is it? No, Airey's with Purple. Who's it with
right now? It's Adam Wakeman.
With Ozzy?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was Sinclair. He was there for a long time.
Okay, John Sinclair was playing while you were playing there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was so much fun to be able to do that.
You realize also you played the song "Diary of a Madman" live, and you're like one of the only members.
Yes, I do. And we opened with it.
How many times do you guys play that live? Not much times.
Not that many. I think it was they opened with it. I think we opened with it. And I wanted to open with Over the Mountain, man. That was like, come on. I don't know as a killer opener, but come on, just hitting people with Over the Mountain. That was huge when your Diary came out and you hear Over the Mountain. It was just dominated. And but anyways, it was just high for Ozzy to sing. I think and come out every night having to jump into that. But Diary was cool. I didn't think it was the best opener in the world. It's a long, epic song that I think would have been killer like fourth or fifth. You hit them with some, I don't know, and whatever, Over the Mountain, Flying High, whatever. You hit them with some Believer, and Crowley, whatever. Then you go into Diary. But it was cool, man. I mean, it's another song Holmes played great on. I mean, we've spent time really trying to play it correctly and tip the hat to the recorded version since there's really no live versions.
Yeah, because you guys would have been the first version of Ozzy Osbourne to do Diary of a Madman.
There's a couple versions of that on YouTube too. I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen.
Got like a couple audio. There's some live audio and a video. I think somebody has a video of it.
Back then, when you played drums, how many drumsticks did you break in an evening, let's say, or in between a song? You're hitting so hard the drums.
Yeah, Not that many. I was using these bigger Zildjian sticks at the time. They were whatever Myron Grombaker's sticks, his model Zildjian sticks at the time. They were like more on the large side, and I wore drum gloves because it was just so hot and sweaty up there that the first night I started playing, the sticks were like slipping out of my hands because of the sweat and the heat and the lights and just being in the middle of the summer. So I just said, screw it, I'm going to use the gloves and so you get a little more grippage, but that doesn't stop the breaking. I don't know, I didn't break that many. Probably break more now. It was the sticks were cool, and a dense stick. Sometimes you get sticks that are a little on the lighter side, a little like just that part of the tree or that particular tree, or didn't make the best sticks or whatever. But it's just how it goes sometimes with wood. I mean, it's not guaranteed that every wood is going to be exactly the same every day. But I don't know, probably a couple sticks, nothing. It wasn't like, I play with Ozzy, I had 20 sticks broken every night.
Yeah, you did pound the drums though, and you sure made it look cool. And I'm sure you got.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, from what I always seen.
Yeah, thanks. It was also a simple, like probably doing a Dave Grohl approach instead of like a big showy approach. I was still in the mindset at the time of just total power and play your ass off, and nobody can say anything, to getting the job done. But now I try to have a lot more fun with drums. I was coming in there, I was as nervous as anything, playing after Pantera. They're my favorite metal band, and warming up to Vinnie Paul every night, and those guys watching on the side, and Tommy Lee and Godsmack and all these guys there. It was, I guess it was a lot of pressure, but I was having a great time.
But you're the headliner also.
Yeah, you're headlining with Ozzy after Pantera. Come on, Ozzy's like one of the few people that can play after Pantera.
Yeah.
So you're a part of that. So I wasn't about trying to be showy. I was just hoping that the power would, get it all across. But now I try to have fun with whether it was Idol or Lynch, and because I look at it now a little bit more like like you watch some of your idols, some of the best drummers in the world, just with amazing technique and also being visual and flashy, whether it's Keith Moon or Gene Krupa or even Buddy Rich or Thomas Lang or Tommy Aldridge or Tommy Lee, or you know what I mean? Or, there's a nice balance between power and visuality or technique. There's definitely a nice balance with all of them. I think that's what I try and do now. It's a goof. You can't be like too serious about everything. I take everything seriously as far as like knowing that you're ready to get your job done, but it's got to be fun. I mean, I think that's why we do it. We all love playing music and put tons of time into getting our get to a certain level on our instruments. Then the result is hopefully you could get a job and
right.
Pay your bills playing your instrument, and that's something to be smiling about and be happy about. So have fun doing it. I mean, geez, Pantera put out some of the heaviest music ever, and Dimebag was always smiling.
Yeah. When's the last time you had contact with Joe Holmes, anyways?
Oh, the last show, the last show of Ozfest. No, but I don't know how many people have talked to him. I have friends that were pretty tight friends with him, and I don't know. I think I don't know. I heard he got married and has a kid or something. I don't know I really don't know. Don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, because nobody knows what he's doing actually.
No, I know, it's really weird, and it's strange just that he was in this position playing with Ozzy. It's not like he was in a band that had one single and it was really successful for one summer, and then that was it. It was like he's a monster player. He played with David Lee Roth and played with Ozzy, and he grew up in California and studied with Randy, so it's like his whole life is geared towards getting on stage and playing with Ozzy or playing and being known. So to have like this whole decade go by almost, you're just like, it's kind of strange, isn't it?
It's kind of like I
really don't know, man. I think somebody I knew saw him, him and his wife or something many years ago, in like a, I don't know, parking lot of a food store or something like that. Who knows? We not everybody is Yeah, I mean, it's like I know Jakey Lee's around, but come on. I mean, you just think that he has such a. There's so many people that are fans of his. He did so many great things with Ozzy and Badlands. You just think there'd be more going on with him. You know what I mean? Just more.
Yeah. And they
I don't
could
know.
do stuff, you know.
Zach has not stopped since he started.
Billy Idol, you wrote a lot of 2005 in the Christmas holidays. You recorded some guitar on that. How was it to go on guitar instead of playing drums with Billy Idol?
Oh well, I did all the instruments on that record, on the Christmas record. I did. I performed all of that stuff except for there's a few keyboard tracks, piano tracks that Derek Sherinian did. That I would have never been able to play. I mean, I even played some of the basic keyboard stuff, just like the string arrangement type things. It was awesome. I mean, he didn't really want to promote it so much, but I look at it now and go, it's all sitting there. We just did it. I think he just wanted to do a few songs for his website,
Yeah.
And then we did them, and his management thought they sounded cool, and we were just going to keep it really simple, just like an acoustic guitar or two, and Billy singing, and maybe a tambourine or sleigh bells or something. And then they liked it, and Best Buy said, hey, we'll make you guys a deal, and somebody in Europe said we'll make a deal. And Billy was like, all right, cool. At least now we can make a record and have a little bit of a budget, and that was it. The two of us made this whole record, and it was a lot of fun, because I had to learn all these Christmas songs, and some of it isn't the easiest stuff to do, and I'm not really that kind of player, so you have to fake yourself into being the Brian Setzer type player on Jingle Bell Rock or whatever. But it's fun, I had a blast doing it. It was a lot of but it wasn't serious. It was just the two of us in my little studio. That's all it was. Like if you saw where we made this record, you'd be like, no way. We're not in that studio anymore, but it was like you wouldn't even believe it. You wouldn't believe where we used to do all our demos, and we made this Christmas thing. And we eventually moved into my house because I got a loft upstairs with I put everything up there. It's more mellow and more fun. But yeah, it was great. It was great. I wish we were doing I wish we did more. Because when Billy and I write, I end up mostly playing all the instruments, and he sings, and we do everything together, and it makes it real easy. I just sit there and run the Pro Tools and engineer and get sounds, play the bass guitar, drums, and whatever else, and then he sings, and it's fun.
Are you going to be playing on Billy Idol's next album?
I would like to think so. I just don't know when that is. I wish I could say, oh yeah, we're starting some tracking next month. I don't know what his plan is outside of. There's some talk about him doing a summer tour thing, but I don't even know if the songs we wrote over the past couple of years will be tying into that summer tour. I don't know if it's going to be a brand new record, or if he's going to take some of the demos and mix them or master them, or if he's going to re-record. I really don't know. I think they're all trying to figure that out right now, which I guess they have to figure out soon, being that it's the end of the year.
So will you keep on recording all the time? That's what you basically do now. You don't tour, or you just record?
With Billy, you mean?
Or
just me?
Right now, like, what are you up to? Like, just recording mostly?
I've been touring with Foreigner all year.
Okay.
Billy and I were writing at the beginning of the year, and then Foreigner called and said, hey, they have a lot of touring, and Billy wasn't, there was no big plan for this year with Billy. There was no, this is what we're doing. It's more like, let's write and see what happens. And I was like, man, I want to, get out and do some touring with Foreigner, and Billy was talk of doing a book and a movie and all this stuff, so he had other things to kind of focus on, and that's what I've been doing. Recorded a new record with Foreigner called Can't Slow Down, and toured Europe all summer and made a DVD out of it, and they released it in the fall, like this whole new record with the new DVD concert with a remix of some of the a bunch of the old huge hits and stuff. So that just came out a couple months ago, and we're on a break. We have a few shows next week, a few Christmas shows in California or whatever for radio stations and stuff, and then they have more touring next year, which I'm in the process of figuring out my next year. What exactly is happening.
All right.
But yeah, so right now I'm home and I'm doing some writing and some the Lynch thing. The Lynch Mob stuff took a week up like last week, and then I had a week off to. I'm just upgrading my studio and getting that all together because I've been on the road so much this year with Foreigner, So I'm just kind of getting my house back together and bumping up my studio a bit and cleaning up and getting all that going,
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Brian.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate your interest in making this happen.